My name is Sophia, I'm the 1 in 1.3, welcome to the family. In this video, I'm going to be talking to you about how to home educate your child through the high school years. My eldest boy in weekends was homeschooled during year 6. I took him out of school at the end of year 5, and for the year of year 6, throughout year 6, he kind of did like a lot of unit study approaches, kind of learned things that he wanted to learn, and we kind of had like a really nice relaxed year 6 year. But by the time he got to year 7, a year later, I'd been homeschooling for about a year at the time, I just felt like, you know, what do I do? There's actually a book, I have to go find this book to show you, 1 minute. So yeah, this book, oh my gosh, can you see that? That's called Exploring Creation with General Science, 2nd edition. See how thick it is. Now I must have read lots of reviews online, I'm a bit out of breath. I must have read lots of reviews online, and when it was his time to homeschool, I thought this book was the right age for him. So he did this book for about 6 months. He was working through it, he was really well read in year 6 anyway, so he read through the book and was doing the work, and he was working on it. I kept saying like, wow, Rika, like if he was at school, these are the sort of things that you'd be learning, sort of thing. And then as time went on, I realised that actually that's based on the USA model, and their grading system's a little bit different. So he was working maybe 2 years ahead of his age, working through the content in this book. He loved it, he understood so, he learned so much things from it, but some of the things that he was learning was just quite above his age really. But he enjoyed it, and obviously he's still doing science now, so it must have obviously helped. But I felt like I was making lots of cards for him, lots of flashcards and worksheets I was preparing alongside this to make sure that he's fully understand the content. So my main reason for showing you that was that obviously when you have a child in high school, you can get a little bit panicked and think like, okay, so what should they be learning, what do I do? Obviously I should have known better, I should have known just go on national curriculum, figure out what it is that they're learning at the time, and you know, do the things that I talk about in my tips for GCSE, IGCSE videos. I would have done some of those things myself. So obviously because I didn't do very well in that side of things, I was able to make that other video for you. So watch that video, give me some tips about how to teach your child like through the Key Stage 3 GCSE years. But this video is basically about teaching a child through high school, the things to be aware of. So I find that even a child in year 7, when he was in year 7, he still likes playing, he still likes going to the park, he still likes going to basketball courts and things like that. I think most children still do, they still like to play, but the play is obviously in a different way. So it's really about trying to get them into different things. Maybe the park's a little bit, they might have outgrown the park a little bit at that age. So you might have to like, do a lot more paid for activities with them. So he did like things like different sports like basketball and swimming, and obviously still spent a lot of time with his family members. So they're still children. The main thing to think about, even at high school, that they're still children. Even legally, they're still literally children. So you've got to kind of look at their interests, find out what sort of things they like to do, and push in with that a bit more. So if they say they want to be alone, that's okay. Like maybe they do lots more things alone. If they say they want to be with more people, then you might want to find activities where they're based around, where they're with more people basically. But don't panic. But anyway, here are 5 tips of what you could do if you're homeschooling a child through high school. Number 1, don't panic. Don't panic just because you're home educating a child through to high school. Maybe you've been home educating your child from they're really young, and this is just an extension of your home education. Maybe you've taken a child out from primary school and they never went into a high school. Maybe they didn't get the high school players, so you decided to homeschool them at home. But don't panic, it's literally just an extension of what they already know. Number 2 was probably reading. I always go back to reading. We have libraries around us that are absolutely free. Go to the library with your child and get them to just choose books that they like. When they choose the different books from the library that they like, you get to have a better understanding of the things that they like a bit more. If you're new to home educating a child and you're home educating them for the first time at home, it really is about getting to know your child again, because you do know your child. Obviously they are still your children, but because they've been at school, there might be some things that you've been missing in the, you know, missing while they're at school that you didn't really know that they were into. But now that you're at home, after you've had a bit of a de-schooling period with them, you're then going to figure out what it is that they like, what is it that they're into. And maybe your child is still discovering that themselves, like, because obviously they're not in that school environment where things are ready-made and ready available for them. They might need to be exposed to other things in order for them to know what it is that they like. So I'd say books is a good way to start. Go to the library, not just the fiction section, go to the non-fiction section, go to some of the genres that might be a little bit older than their age, younger than their age, and figure out what it is that they like. Maybe go on field trips, go to museums, like just go to London if you live in London, obviously go around the UK, go explore different places with them to find out a bit more about what they like. And when you can see things that they're strong in, like a strength of what they like, maybe they don't think that they like it, but you can tell that they're quite good at it. You can kind of push those things as well to kind of show them and build them up with your words, to show them what it is that they can do, what it is that they can be later on in life. Okay, number 3 would be think about the things that you want to teach your child. So for example, if you want your child to have a good foundation in maths, English and science, do you know much about that yourself? So because they're in high school age, the level of learning is a little bit higher now, and you might remember what you learnt when you were at school, what you found hard when you were at school, and what you found quite easy when you were at school. So maybe now's the time for you to learn these things yourself. So study the areas that you found hard at school, so that when your child is getting to that point, you will have better understanding, a better knowledge of how to teach them those skills, basically. Sometimes it might feel like, okay, yeah, I've heard it's easy to homeschool. No one ever said it was easy to homeschool your child, because they do need to help. If you have the money and the funding in place already, then yeah, you can go and pay for them to have a tutor, or pay for them to go to different classes. But I think a good way would be to kind of like relearn some of the things alongside your child. I find it quite interesting when my children are doing algebra at the moment, algebra 1, and a bit of geometry. So I find that when they're doing their work, I kind of still go back to my days at school and of things that I learned at school that I still remember, and then I can use a lot of that to help them to learn it as well. But we do a lot of like looking online at different videos if they don't understand concepts. But my 3rd tip would be for you to learn some of the content again yourself that you'll be teaching your child. Home education is amazing because you grow with your child and you grow in knowledge as well. Number 4 would be find some mentors for your child at this age. Find people that they can look up to at this age as well, to be around them, that they can impart even more knowledge onto. There's this really cool TEDx video that we watched when my kids were younger called Hack Schooling. I think the boy talked about being a hack schooler, and he talked about all the different experiences that he had done within his hack schooling journey, and it was so good. He was 13 years old. He was on a TEDx stage talking about his different things, what he does. But I think he did surfing, if I'm correct. But the main thing that I realised from that video was that he had lots of mentors. So for my children, they had loads of mentors. So they had like a swimming coach who was really good. The way that he was really good at helping them swim. They all learned to swim at a very high level. They had their pastors at church. They had lots of the elder like people at church that they were able to call mentors. They had lots of family members, like my dad, for example, who was a really good mentor. He was able to pass on knowledge about like carpentry and like building work and things like that. You had people like my brother, he's into computer programming. He was able to be a mentor. He was able to help the children with like computer things and coding and things like that. They had other teachers, like they had science teachers, they had ICT teachers, they had, you know, basketball coaches and all different things that they had as mentors. They had my grandparents, which were their great grandparents, was able to give them their history classes about their culture, what it was like in Jamaica, like the sort of things that they did when they were younger. They got to learn about family at that stage. I got my mum as well. My mum's a midwife. She's also been a social worker, but she's just granny, you know what I mean, like their grandma. She was able to impart wisdom in them as well. My mum also, she's very good at art, so she did like an art class for them to show them how to draw their hand and draw like little still figures and, you know, still creatures. Still items basically. But I guess you'd have to talk to the children yourself for them to tell you who they felt were good mentors for them. They didn't do all of these in excess. They were just mentors. They were people that were there that they knew they could turn to if they ever needed to, and that they could learn from. So maybe if you have, look around you, it takes a village to raise a child. Look around you, who do you have around you that can kind of help your child, but like by being a mentor to your child, by encouraging them and building them up. Obviously you've got God, he comes first anyway. You've got God's word. God is our mentor, Jesus is there. In terms of word, in terms of his knowledge, there's so much Christian books out there that can help you to kind of like, they can read these books as mentorships as well. But find a mentor, somebody that, you know, you look up to and that your child would look up to as well. And then my final one for number 5 would be enjoy the process. But don't just have like number 5 as a cliche. Enjoy the process, but always make sure that you know where it is that you're going. So if you have an idea where what your child is good at, what their strengths are, what your child is good at, what their strengths are, find out, you know, what will be involved in the GCSE, if that's what you're choosing for them, and work your way back. So for example, if you know that your child wants to be a lawyer, you might go far into like university level, find out what you need in order to be a lawyer. If it says you need A-levels in certain subjects, you may look again at what is the prerequisite for that A-level. It might say you need a certain amount of GCSEs. You know, what GCSEs would you need in order to do that, and then start studying those concepts as well. Because what I found with my children was that they didn't know what they wanted to be or what they wanted to do until a lot later. But had I known, I would have started it a bit early. So what I just do now with the other 2 is I give them the 3 cores, like maths, English and science, and make sure that they learn that regardless. And then if they don't want to do that later on, at least they still have it. That's what I would do with children who are in high school. What mistakes have I made? I've got a few notes about the mistakes I made. So I said, there's not really any mistakes on my paper really. I think the main thing was I panicked quite a bit. So when you got into year 7, I decided to do the box curriculum. So I decided to do the ACE curriculum because I felt like at least that way I'm not giving myself the full responsibility of working out what sort of GCSEs you would need to do. So if you're somebody that just needs to have like a framework there that's already set for you, you know, that you already just need to do this, this, this and this, and this is the end result, then the ACE curriculum might be good for you as well. So even though right now for us within our homeschool, I feel a bit like this is just getting so boring. Like I feel like the whole like how many pages to do per day, it's not as fun as it used to be. But the work's still good. When they're reading the work and they're learning things, it's still interesting what they're learning, but we're just a bit like, ugh, we're so sick of doing paces now. But I feel like at least they know that if they complete this many paces, they'll get a qualification at the end, and they can pursue it and go on to college, sixth form, university and things like that as well. But there you have it. I'm not sure if these videos are really helpful for you in any way, but if they are, press subscribe, like and subscribe, give me a thumbs up. And leave a comment down below, just let me know that, you know, the videos are okay, that they're helping you. If you have any questions, I'll try my best to answer them. But you can homeschool a child through high school, it's not a problem, it's never too late to homeschool a child. Year 11 is a bit tricky, so I think if your child's in year 11 and already at school, I personally would say they should probably just stay there in year 11 and just continue on the journey. Year 10 is a little bit late as well, but it's still possible. It was at the beginning of the year that you can take them out and do their GCSEs at home yourself as well. But anything before like year 9, I would say, yeah, it's definitely possible to homeschool a child through high school. Malaya Sky's never been to high school. She's never done any like SATs or anything like that, and you know, she's doing really well. Tiago is obviously never been to high school either. None of my kids actually went to high school, and they all did pretty well. They're all doing pretty well. So I'm a testimony. I'm a homeschool single parent mom who homeschooled her kids through high school, so I approve this message. I'll see you in another video.